بيرنجارة. السلام عليكم. بدر صار شارك ترى فيك شو هسه كل شيء بخير الحمد لله ما شاء الله بيه ما شاء الله. طيب فات. No, just one. Thank it. Oh, I feel like I want to cry, man. That was so silly. No, cool. What? Damn, yeah, man. You said you know when you move, you go yabba the water when you people. क्या सवा सिल वाला चंपर मोलू माशाल्लाह हार कलनी हम चल ahora está bom. Beaucoup courage. Ok. Oui. Papi, merci. Ok, bien. Ok, amin, amin, amin.
Oh, it feels so good on.
Okay, Lynn is back.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not the best at screen sharing, but I wanted you to be able to get to see and hear directly the voices of people who participated in this research project, Broken Hope. That was Saidu Sow. He's a good friend of mine. I've never actually met him in person, but I've been talking to him. I've probably spent 100 hours on the phone with him or more since 2018, when he first called me from jail and said, I got detained in the Butler County Jail, but I've got all my paperwork and I'm going to fight my deportation case to Mauritania. He went through 3 years in immigration jail, several different appeals, lawyers, and just came up against the harsh reality of an immigration court that doesn't want to accept people like him, and doesn't want to believe what they say in court. So we're here to talk about Broken Hope, Deportation and the Road Home. It was an accidental book project. Maryam Sy from the Ohio Immigrant Alliance will talk to you a little bit about how it came about. Then we'll hear from Suma Setty about some of the other research that's been done around the country and world on this topic, and also what hasn't been done and what some of the key findings were from Maryam's research. Interspersed throughout that, we will hear from other people who were deported. And I just wanted to thank you for making the time to be on this call right now. It's very important. I know there's an impeachment trial going on. There's lots of focus on Congress and budget negotiations, but we take our job very seriously. And the people that were deported that we've talked to told us they want to be seen and heard. They don't feel like they're represented in the media narrative, in the policy discussions, and they're tired of being treated as invisible because they exist and they want to come home. So with that, I'll turn it over to Maryam to talk a little bit about the work she did.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maryam Sy, and I work with the Ohio Immigrant Alliance. I conducted interviews. We started in 2019. We interviewed 255 people. Like Lynn said, at the beginning, when we started working on RENA US, we didn't really know where everything was going. So, of course, we started with the people of Ohio who were deported. And of course, the deportation were about the Trump administration, but administrations before Trump. So we started with the people from Ohio, and we quickly saw that like a spider web was starting to form. People from different states, different countries. We started with Mauritanian people, and we quickly saw that other people from different countries, people from Asia, from Europe, started to reaching out to us because they knew that we were listening. And I believe the whole idea was to listen and to see if we can have some kind of advocacy to support these people. Lynn started off by playing a video of Saidu Sow. Saidu Sow's interview is one of the first interview that I did. And in general, the interviews will take me 1 hour. Saidu Sow's interview took me 7 hours to do because I was the first person to talk to him. And he had a lot to say. He was emotional. We were the first people reaching out to him and asking what happened. And when I look at it, I look at it as, you know, when a kid is in a fight with a sibling and you ask what happened and they start crying. That's the kind of emotion that I got from Saidu. And it took us 7 hours, like I said, to get his story. But he's not the only person that I spoke to. Like I said, I spoke to 255 people, and many people lived here for a long time. Ibrahim Keita lived in Ohio for 30 years. Abdoulaye Chow lived here for many, many years. His deportation story was horrible. He went through a lot. And then all those people have something to say. Some people were deported, and some people chose to live because they were afraid of deportation. And they were afraid of being taken back to horrible countries that they left in the first place. So this book is about those stories. It's about asking us questions about what we can do to make a change, because deportations, unfortunately, are still happening. And I believe that we can do something. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'll pass it back on to Lynn.
Thank you, Maryam. It's just, I love working with you, and just thank you for all the heart you put into this. I know that it was very difficult having those conversations, but also people were grateful, and I'm grateful to you. I'm going to attempt to share my screen again because Zoom doesn't work very well in many of the countries where people were deported to. We asked somebody to record a video, and we've got Demba Jobe. He is from Minnesota, was deported to the Gambia, and is actively trying to get back here to his U.S. citizen wife and his U.S. citizen stepchildren. And you'll hear directly from him now.
Hi, good afternoon, Lynn. Good afternoon, Maryam. Good afternoon, Pat. My name is Demba Jobe. I came to United States 2014 whilst I was working at the Ministry of Finance. Then there was an issue here in the Gambia. Then I applied for asylum. While I applied for asylum, they gave me a work permit. Then I started working. And during that time I was working, that's the time I met my wife, my beautiful wife by the name Georgiana. She's the one who was training me in the company by the name Integrated Residential Service. Then we got married 2017, 15 June 2017. Then I canceled the asylum. Then I was using the married. Then whilst I was doing that, my brother passed away. My cousin brother passed away. I came to Gambia through a permission from my lawyer. Then there was a parole given to me by the USCIS, and I used that parole. I come to Gambia. Before I leave the US, my lawyer told me that anything happened, I will just call me, but you can go and come back. I came to the Gambia. I did the charity. And when I was coming back, they intercepted me at the airport, saying that I pay my wife to get papers. They called my wife. My wife told them, no, that's a lie. I do everything. They said no. You know, I came as an alien. Then they arrested me. They questioned me. I was there since 12 p.m. up till like 12 a.m. or 2 a.m. You know, they forced me. They do everything. A lot of officers came, different people, different questions. You know, I just insist. I said no. I didn't pay my wife. Then they went and signed a document without my consent. Then they sent me to jail. You know, I went to Pulaski. I was there for 1 week. They took my driver license, my passport, my everything. Then after 1 week, they sent me back to Chicago at the USCIS office. Then from there, somebody told me that we could going to release you, but later on they took me to McKinney jail, where I was up till the day they was deported me back home. I love my wife since December 18, 2020, I think so. Since then, I'm not working. I'm stressful. My wife is sick, you know. She cannot do anything, you know. She's really sick, and we love each other, and I miss him. My life is unbelievable, you know. I never thought that I will be sent back to the Gambia, and I was working hard, help my family, help my wife, help my stepkids. I never committed any crime in this US since I been there. I was working. I was a case manager. I was having a home with 2 clients, you know, and 15 staff, you know, and they respected me very well. I respected them. Even my bosses, they really appreciate what I was doing. But life ain't like this, you know. I'm not a criminal. I never had any problem with anybody. You know, I respect what I'm doing. That's it. Now I'm in Gambia here suffering. You know, I don't have a work because of like I cannot go and apply for work because of what I was having. I was having a problem with the government, and still now this is exiting. You know, we have change of government, but things are getting not in the right direction. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. To be honest with you, I don't know anything what I'm gonna do. I'm fighting my case. My wife is crying every now and then. You know, even going to the hospital is a problem. Sometimes you take a cab. You know, it's time to struggle to walk. You know, but she cannot do all by herself. You know, and I really miss my stepkids. I miss my wife. I really wanna be with my family. You know, and I need help. No matter what's happened, I need help to come back to my wife. I love her. I love my wife 100%. You know, since I came back here, I'm here with my 2 kids. You know, my mom, my family, they said you have to get married. I said no, I don't want to get married to anybody except my wife. You know, and my life is really destroyed. You know, the USCI, the government, the US government destroyed my life because I was thinking of like America was my best place because I was there. I was building a family. My kids love me. My wife loves me, you know, the family, everybody loves me, you know. Before you know that, when I off during the Friday prayers or weekends, we cook African food. You see the smile on my kids, you know. You see smile on my in-laws, you know. You see smile on my wife, you know. They love African food, and I always do that. Or sometimes we go for movie and stuff like that. I miss all those things, you know, right now, you know, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. My life is miserable here in Africa. You know? Yeah, thank you. That's just to make the video cut. That's the only thing I have to say for now.
Great. So that was Demba Jobe, Jobe. And Pat Leach, he was giving a shout out to Pat Leach there, who has been working with many deported immigrants, doing great work. So Demba has a path to return. He has a US citizen wife, and US citizen stepchildren, but he can't afford a lawyer. Those types of applications require waivers. They're very expensive. They take a long time, and they are not always successful. So there are things the Biden administration can do to make that process easier. We've seen the deported veterans portal that they've set up that allows people to come here while they're still working on fixing their case. We've seen the proposal from the National Immigrant Justice Center called Chance to Come Home that has outline of the policy that they're recommending. And, you know, quite frankly, we've seen the focus of the media and funders and lawyers that is basically all sucked down to the southern border. But we need to also raise our gaze and make sure that people like Demba are not left behind. And getting pro bono and low bono resources to people like him. Every day we get contacted from people who have a path back, but they just don't have the legal guidance. I want to say one more thing before we move on to Suma. Demba mentioned something about his cousin brother, that he was going back to Africa for the death of his cousin brother, and that he had advanced parole, but when he came back, tried to come back in, the border officials claimed that his marriage was fraudulent. So we're going to get into this in a whole separate report coming out in March about the proceedings in immigration court, but I want to underscore a couple points. There is an assumption of lying and an assumption of fraud, particularly against Black immigrants in immigration court. When you call somebody your brother, and then later on it's revealed that biologically he's your cousin, or he's a neighbor, or he's like a brother, that alone is used to discredit your testimony. The idea that you know, a woman here in Minnesota who's participating in a training program as a leader is married to Demba, it's got to be fraudulent in their mind. And they would rather separate that family than allow them to come back together. Demba's wife is sick. She, like, as he said, she tries to get to hospital appointments, and she just needs him. And, you know, they should be able to go to the movies and cook African food together. So now we're going to hear from Suma Setty. She's been involved in this project for a very long time and has been to Ohio and New York and everywhere with us, Suma, so take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm Suma Setty. I am a policy analyst at the Center for Law and Social Policy on the immigration team. I have a research background, and I will say that what Maryam and Lynn have done here with the collection of 250 plus stories of people who have been deported is something really unprecedented. I have not seen any sort of study on the experiences of people. Well, the research literature just contains very little on the experiences of people who have been deported from the US. For the little research that does exist, to my knowledge, the focus is primarily on Latinx experiences, and no pieces include as many voices as this project includes. We're talking about 255 people who have been forcibly removed from the nation and separated from their families and communities. This is an incredibly difficult population to reach, and Maryam and Lynn were able to do this by sheer determination and love. There is, however, a great deal of research on the impact of deportation, especially on children. And the research is so definitive. The deportation of a caregiver is incredibly harmful to children's physical and emotional well-being, regardless of whether they stay in the US or accompany their parent to the country they're deported to. They experience distress and fall behind in school. They become isolated and withdrawn. Some younger children in this group of that we've heard of, they experience developmental delays. Some older children drop out of school to work and support their families. Their educational outcomes are impacted, and they are ultimately harmed because they are not able to pursue higher education and jobs that require those higher skills. There is harm to the entire household, even if there isn't a child involved, but especially if that person is economically supporting the family. It is costly to be detained. It costs money for legal counsel, as Lynn mentioned, to travel to the detention center and visit them. To even make a phone call to a detention center costs money. And then, depending on the stability of the nation to which a person is deported, there is a possibility that the family remaining in the US they have to support this person abroad, especially if they are in hiding or living in fear, which many of the people in this group are living in fear in their home countries. This book also kind of outlines some removal trends across administrations especially comparing trends between Obama and Trump. We found that average annual deportations under Obama, they were larger under Obama than under Trump. However, there were huge disparities based on country of origin and region of origin. Removals to African nations increased by 74%, and deportations to Caribbean nations increased 48% under the Trump administration than under the Obama administration. Deportations to Muslim majority nations, and this should come to no surprise for most folks on this call, they increased by 38%. So why is this happening? This is happening because the federal government is pouring money into immigration enforcement rather than investing in legal pathways for people to stay here. This is a through line between these stories and the stories that, is getting a lot of attention in the media about the border, right? The border stories. Legal pathways like humanitarian parole and other legal pathways, they reduce and ease unlawful immigration. But in our current system, as we saw Demba's story, people can be simultaneously eligible for deportation as well as be eligible for a green card. This is like a pure case study in how broken our system is. I'm gonna push it back to Lynn to take over. Thanks.
Thanks, Suma. And Suma and CLASP is part of the Children Thrive Action Network, and they also conducted listening sessions in, I think, 9 listening sessions around the country, and wrote a report about that, and includes some conversations with people whose spouses were deported. So definitely urge you guys to check that out. I'm glad Suma's here because she mentioned the impact on children, and I do think that that is the area that's been studied the most. What we tried to do with Broken Hope was to also study the impact on the individual, right? And including people who don't fit the mold of a nuclear family, father, mother, young children. So we highlight stories of Saidu Sow, who was a Quran teacher in Columbus, and he doesn't have any young children of his own. He has a whole community of young children who he taught the Quran to, and they recorded several videos saying that they wanted him to be able to come back because they needed him, because, kids were taking the wrong path without his guidance. We profile Abdullah Chow, who is a very important person in this work, and he doesn't have kids of his own, but he has nephews that he thinks of as his own children. And he's got friends who say, Abdullah, hey, I remember you used to always be there when I called. If my car broke down, you'd always come help me, And so people like him deserve a chance too. The policies can't be limited to people with young children and this kind of stuff. The other thing we do in Broken Hope is we give some context about political choices made throughout, from the Clinton years all the way up. And we talk about how, even actually before the Clinton years, we talk about how the Black codes and slavery and the remnants of slavery, which are not really remnants, they're quite present, all of that sort of evolved into the immigration policy we have today. So I definitely urge you to check it out. We have a lot more testimonies, photos. Everybody wanted their photo in the book. We said, who wants to, I can't see, but who wants their photos in there? And they sent them in. We've got additional data from Maryam's interviews, and Maryam's son, Saini, also helped with some of the analysis. He's a high school student. We have a glossary of terms. And the other thing we talk about, and this, Maryam, maybe you can talk a little bit more, is that people also wanted to talk about how they were deported. So could you say a little bit more about that? We've got a chapter called The Hours and Hours of Deportation, and it shows a picture of a man with full body shackles, and then it shows a picture of a man encased in the wrap. And so, Maryam, could you just say a few words about that part of their story?
Sure. I think the reason why many people decided to flee or leave the country before being caught and deported is because they heard about those horrible stories regarding the deportation process. So it's not just someone is not being picked up from home and, placed in a plane and dropped off in their home country. That's not how it happens. They go through detention centers. And when they are detained in very difficult situations. I remember we spoke to many people who said, who used to say, we are detained with criminals, but I'm not a criminal. I never went to jail. I never had a parking ticket. So why am I being detained with criminals? So I remember I spoke to a man who was having health issues, and the humiliation he went through for him was the hardest part. They put a diaper on him because they knew that they would not let him use the bathroom. And he was saying to me that part for him was very painful. He said that I'm a very respected person. I came to America for a better life, but that's not a way for them to treat people like we're animals. So we have many stories where people were
so hard to see from the moment we arrived.
Fed properly, or the jail setting suitable for them to
you are one who will survive.
They go from airport to airport. There are shuttles on their legs and hands.
When time's been bad,
We have a story of a man who
you
said
put
that
smiles on everyone.
military was brought, and they said people in uniform was brought, and they sprayed something.
I think of you
Crazy stories, many stories.
and of all I should have done.
Yeah. Undignifying situations.
You told me the thing would shape or form that you're in. The place you're from, the wealth of the color of your skin.
But on the flip side,
And all you had burns to the sky. It's all too late. You wonder why.
we talked about how Saidu Sow, when he was in jail, he was like the jail
Every day
every time he talked
is a struggle and a strife.
for her to pass on to loved ones of other people.
Don't you agree?
You know,
With beating hearts, we're still alive.
the organizing that people did inside the jails to close the contracts with this. There
Comes a time,
contracts, you know, by
all you have is who you love.
90% because they spoke out to get into that. So as a
Cornelia, you'll be all I'm thinking of.
They're in a rural county jail, no Muslim people, no African.
Told me the thing would shape or form that you're in.
What they did, what they continue to do.
The place you're from, the wealth of the color of your skin.
Deported folks in November.
And all you had burns to the sky. It's all too late. You wonder why.
So that they can
Cornelia,
each other, kind of emulating what the different veterans did, you know, to create advocacy goals. And another priority for them is that they want access to their social security retirement. I mean, some people live in this country for so long, working legally and paying taxes, that they actually qualify for social security retirement. And only a couple of them have found a way to get it after their deportation. So to me, these people are heroes. I just wanted you to meet them. We're going to see one more quick video, and then we'll open up for questions from the media. So give me a pause for a second so I can cue up this video again.
so hard to see from the moment we arrived. Cornelia, you are one who will survive. When time's been bad, you put smiles on everyone. I think of you and
Okay. So that was a montage of some photos of people who have been able to come home in the past few years. And the video was Brigido Acosta Luis. Some of you may know him. His wife, Maria, stood in front of one of the buses to try to stop his deportation out in Illinois during the Obama administration. So I wanted to close with that video just to say it's a simple thing, right? A father coming home. But we could do more of that. And, you know, there's a role for everybody to play, from Congress, the Biden administration, the media, advocates, funders. So, you know, again, our plea is just don't forget people who were deported. You know, work with us to create wider paths to return. You know, thank you so much to NIJC for your leadership, the deported veterans, the adopted international adoptees, everybody that's working on this from different angles. And we all want the same thing, which is for people to have a path home. So with that, I'll stop. And if you have any questions, we're going to take questions only from the media. If you're an advocate or a different role, feel free to email us offline and we will answer your questions there. I believe you can use the chat or the Q&A. So if you have a question, please go ahead and enter it now, and we'll just give you guys a few minutes to think of any questions. Okay, no worries. So with that, we'll bring this to a close. I'd just like to give Maryam and Suma a chance to say anything that they forgot to mention or anything that that's occurred to them as we close out. So I'll start with you, Suma.
Well, one thing I did want to say, I know Lynn has already outlined this, but we do posit a number of policy solutions to help folks like Demba and other folks that were highlighted in the book and the issue brief. We also have an issue brief on CLASP website about this, and I really encourage you all to take a look at that. We wanted to give folks a voice in this and make sure they're heard, but we also wanted to posit solutions for them and for their situation.
Thanks, Suma. Maryam, any closing remarks?
Sure. Like you said, Lynn, we can all do something about it. We can talk about it. We can inform people. We can spread the word. These people, even if they don't have children or families here, they still have a part of them here in America. And some of them are in very dangerous situations, so they need to come home. And the more we talk about it, the more we inform the American people about it, the more we can do for them to come back. So yeah, thank you for everyone for being here. And I'm so proud I was a part of this journey, this amazing book.
Thank you, Maryam. We have this available for free as an ebook. I recommend you purchase the paperback so you can get and hold it in your hands, because it's really something special. We have the issue brief that CLASP took the lead on and is posted on their website. We also have executive summaries, and we have audio executive summaries in English, French, and Fulani. We wanted to make the information accessible to as many people as possible. And we also got really important feedback from our Reunite US WhatsApp group as we were developing the book. You know, they weighed in as we shared different pieces of it with them. But the number one thing they wanted was to be seen and heard. So thank you for helping to raise their images and their voices and their stories. Thank you.